four concepts that are crazy off the wall that the Vikings could try a quarterback that would not mean drafting a quarterback this year.
Okay.
And I'm going to run them by you one by one, and you tell me what you think.
I'm going to pull up their salary cap information.
So these are sort of creative but unlikely. I just don't love the idea of drafting the third best quarterback because usually that guy stinks unless you get real lucky and Teddy falls or Lamar Jackson falls. Those are the only times where, or Deshaun Watson, where you get lucky. It does happen.
Or you're even in position to get a quarterback.
But yeah, who knows, right? But mostly
they could
Brian
be
Brown.
Though. Just to clarify, just because of how nuts we expect this UFA class to be a month before the draft hits, they could be in position to get a quarterback, the third best quarterback, potentially. I wouldn't say the second best because there will definitely be two taken in the top 10. But because of how many guys veterans we expect to be changing teams.
Yeah, there will be spots filled.
Yes, already.
Sure.
So.
But here are these, here's some different potential approaches. Okay, the first one, Taysom Hill is a restricted free agent, which means that if you offer Taysom Hill a bunch of cash, that the New Orleans Saints would have to match that offer in order to keep him or let him go. So let's say you decided, here's what we want to do with Taysom Hill. We want to offer him a 4-year deal worth, I don't know, $60 million. And the Saints are like, well, good for you. Go ahead. And for next year, you use Taysom Hill the same way the Saints do, as a receiver, running back, tight end, playmaker. And then you let Kirk go and you hand the job over to Taysom Hill as your starting quarterback. And there you have your athlete. I don't know if he's a great thrower of the football, but at least you would have an athlete at the position who gives you a chance. He's a playmaker. He's dangerous, right? That's one potential idea. You're smiling at me as if you think it is ridiculous.
No, do I need to react to each of these as you say them?
I think you do. So why don't you react to the idea of paying Taysom Hill a bleep ton of money to come here and be a weapon for this year and then make him the starting quarterback the next year?
So I'll go ahead and I'll indulge your crazy here. That's fine.
That's the whole point. If you don't, I just sit here and be crazy for 20 more minutes.
There's your slot receiver. So he could be your number 3. There's your backup running back. You can mix in different packages. He could be your third down back. He could be whatever you want. Scat back. He could be your H back. He could be whatever you want. And then you say he can't throw. Well, I'm pretty sure that he broke that game open was it, the first half with that insane 50-yard bomb that he threw to set
Twitter
up that touchdown.
Which Twitter told me he didn't lead the guy enough.
Okay.
You got to be kidding me.
If you're signing him with the true thought that he could fulfill as many roles as he had in New Orleans and that you would use him in this offense the same way, why not? Because there's your backup quarterback, there's your number 3 receiver, there's your backup /scat back / whatever else in the backfield. I believe you
included H-back as well.
H-back, sure, why not?
Definitely.
Yeah, go for it. Can you play tight end too?
Okay, sure. Backup, he could be 3 tight end. You don't need Tyler Conklin anymore. You can move on from his salary. So that's a little crazy because you have to believe that Taysom Hill could be a good quarterback after. But if he's not, then you probably lose a bunch of games.
Yeah.
And, you draft one the next year anyway. So I like it because next year you have to try to win. You can't go into next year and be like, oh, we're just going to tank and then try to draft Trevor Lawrence. You're way too good. And your coach is too good. Your talent is too good, so you can't do that. Here's another potential idea. You sign either Jacoby Brissett or Marcus Mariota or trade for one of these guys, or Nick Foles even, which it would be hard to take on that salary. Mm-hmm. But you get one of these guys who you know was a starter and is going to be available as your backup quarterback. This would be called Tannehilling. And then after you're done with Kirk, you hand that person the job, the backup, that you make them the starter. So let's say it's Marcus Mariota, who, of course, no one would be super happy with. But let's just say Mariota's been a failure in Tennessee, but he made the playoffs a couple times. He's not awful. He's probably going to be immediately the best backup quarterback in the NFL. Let's say that you sign him this offseason when he gets let go as your backup, and you give him like $7 or $8 million or something to be your backup, with the idea of handing things over to him at his same salary for the next season. So then your quarterback spending goes from 30-something million down to less than 10 million. So you could spend a ton on the 2020 roster. Or you could do this with Jacoby Brissett or Nick Foles, or even if you were really crazy, Jameis Winston. You make them your backup for 2020 with plans of them being the starter in 2021. How do you feel about that?
I don't like any of those options, though.
Well, none of these are great.
I know.
None
that's
of these
why I have
Pat Mahomes gets to be your quarterback.
Well, so you're saying, let me clarify with the Mariota thing. So what salary would I be signing him to? Because he had,
let's say it's a 2-year deal for $14 million or something.
And then I get to continue that beyond.
You get to have him at that same deal for 2021 when he takes over as the starter.
Okay.
And you're in good shape in case something happens to Kirk, because we know that if he got hurt this year.
If you had a viable backup, somebody like that who has won games, who has made a playoff appearance or two, who's not great, maybe he becomes your system quarterback. I don't know. I hate that label, but I think that, if you could force him into that, if you could pigeonhole him into that, sure. I'm not even sniffing Jameis Winston. I'm sorry.
Not.
Like,
yeah.
Mike Zimmer would rather probably retire than have Jameis Winston as his quarterback. There's just too many risks involved with what he does on the field that would give me a heart attack if I was a coach having to watch that and suffer through it. So, if you can make it work with the cap, I could give you, because we could go through all these though. We could look at Andy Dalton. We could look at all the. I'm sure. What is he, number 4 on your list? Because he's probably going to Chicago now that Bill Lazor's going there.
But this idea isn't bad, because you're talking about any of these guys being in the ballpark of Kirk in terms of where they can get you, but way cheaper. So if Dalton doesn't get another starting job, which I think is possible, and he becomes your backup at like $8 or $9 million, but you sign him to a 2-year deal so he can become your starter, he's going to take over then a team that has been restocked by using a bunch of money.
Yeah. I still think, I honestly think after the Bill Lazor news came out that he's probably going to Chicago because Chase Daniel's a free agent.
But either way,
they're going to keep
Foles,
Mitch.
Brissett, Mariota, Dalton, they're all in the same cluster of quarterbacks. That's probably
not Foles, not with that contract. That is a very heavy thing to take on.
What's Foles' contract here?
I'll look it up. I have it.
Yeah, you're right. He's getting paid a lot.
That's way too much.
What's his cap hits? Are they crazy? Maybe I'll have to take him off the list.
I think.
Yeah. Okay. Whoa. I did not realize
his 2020 cap hit is $22.125 million.
Take him off the list.
Yeah.
Take him off the list.
He's stuck down there.
Mariota, it's Dalton, it's Brissett. These guys are not going to be starting quarterbacks next year. They're going to be backups. But if you sign them to 2-year deals, they could become your starter and be on a really good team. That's another potential option. My next one is to trade Delvin Cook and other stuff to get Tua.
What is other stuff?
Probably your 1st-round draft pick, and probably your 2nd-round draft pick, and probably your 2nd-round draft pick from the following season.
Oh my goodness. Rick Spielman's not I'm just going off history. I'm not trying to like rain on your parade here, but I'm also looking at realistically knowing how this general manager operates. We've never really seen him in draft mode do anything, at least not in current years. Anything current years. I'm talking about the last 5 years. Do anything so absurd. I'm not talking about reaching for Christian Ponder. That's not current years. That was a long time ago.
What about the 3 first-rounder year? Harry and...
That's not really current, though. Still, I'm still talking about the last 5 years.
Floyd and Cordell Patterson.
That was 2012, right? 11, 12? 13? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe. But that's just not his MO. And he's drafting for his job right now, because I still think that there's a little bit of skepticism based on, Kirk is going to be tied to him forever in this franchise. And, getting it right might not be trading away all of your draft capital for the next 2 years, at least your high draft capital, to go get a quarterback who's coming off of a hip injury. I don't know about that.
So Delvin, 25th.
You don't trade away your best offensive player. What have we learned throughout this playoffs?
Running back, though.
He is the best player on this offense. If he goes, you get Green Bay every single week, and they're a 3-13 team.
Okay, but does anything matter outside the quarterback, though? Not really.
I just don't think that you're going to do that. Granted, he is in line for an extension. If maybe they don't think that they want to pay him, if there's some arguments from both sides, and they find out, hey, he's going to hold out, and we don't want to deal with this, that maybe they would. But if I'm looking at this and it's kind of in a sweet spot, I don't think they're trading Delvin Cook. So I'm going to nix that one.
Well, it's not whether you think they would do these. It's whether you think that they were a good idea. I told you just to react.
No,
that was your reacting.
I am reacting.
I don't think
I don't think it's a good idea. No, move on. Number 4.
I think it's a great idea.
Well, because you wrote it out.
I actually think it's the best. I wrote all these ideas. I don't think that Jacoby Brissett is the best one. I think the best one is trading Delvin Cook or somebody else, whoever. Adam Thielen, Danielle Hunter, anybody who's not a quarterback. It just doesn't matter. Trade someone and the 25th overall pick and something else to go as high as you possibly can to draft Tua Tagovailoa. It's exactly what Kansas City did to get Mahomes. They traded a bleep ton of stuff to 10 and don't you remember everyone's like, oh, what is Kansas City doing? Trading all their picks?
Patrick Mahomes wasn't coming off of what was at the time thought of as a potential career-ending injury.
Yeah, it shouldn't be for him though, right?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm worried about the hip. I'm one of those people that I think that could affect his draft stock. And I don't know if you'd be overvaluing that. Yeah, getting Tua in an offense here, letting him learn under Kirk for years, probably not a bad idea, but the steps you'd have to take to get there, I don't want to trade Danielle Hunter. I don't want to trade Delvin Cook. If you're looking at it as one of these skeptical Vikings fans who's like, oh, the contract for Adam Thielen sucks, it looks terrible because of what happened this year, then maybe you'd throw him in there. But the other two, I'm not trading.
Yeah. I think a defensive end just doesn't matter in comparison to a quarterback.
Once in a generation defensive end who's barely
once in a generation,
barely at the prime of his career.
There's 15 players as good as Danielle Hunter in the NFL.
Not doing it. Let's go on to number 4 before I lose my mind.
There seriously are at least a dozen other defensive ends who get double-digit sacks and all sorts of pressures, and when they play on the opposite side of a guy who's better,
and who are not on the same team-friendly deal, the bargain that they got Danielle Hunter
for. My point is just that Mike Zimmer developed a Danielle Hunter and they drafted one, but we don't think you could ever find one again. Afadi Adenabo has 6 or 7 sacks just last year as a fill-in guy. Mike Zimmer should believe in the fact that he could develop these players on defense and not pay them what they're paying them, I think. But nobody matters as much as the quarterback. That's the point, is if you just threw a dart at a dartboard with all the players on them and said, would you trade him if you could get a quarterback? I'd say yes, as long as they're not a quarterback. So it's all the other players. You hit a dart with Danielle Hunter. Okay, see ya. Delvin Cook, bye. Even Stephon Diggs. If you're telling me it's for a quarterback who's going to be better and for the future, I would say, okay, have to do it. No other position is anywhere close in terms of value. All right, my next idea is waiting until the 2021 draft and then trading all your future picks after that to get the top quarterback that you can get.
Could be Trevor, right?
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, who's giving him away? Probably nobody is moving out of number 1 to take Trevor Lawrence, but the best quarterback you can get in 2021 and just saying goodbye to Kirk, and you're putting that guy right in. He's going to play as a rookie.
Are all of these things, these scenarios, just to clarify, are all based on the possibility that they don't extend him this year?
Yeah, of course. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
By that point, it's almost like you're conceding. If you get to that level, it's 2020 is going to be tough. And that's okay, because I tend to think it will be. And I know it's early.
You mean 2021, right? When you start that rookie, it's going to be a bad season.
2021? Yeah, because you'd be coming off of what is kind of, at least at this point, feels like it could be very much an 8-8 or 9-7 season next year, if it all stays the same. Because year 1 playoff win, how do I phrase this? If the Saints game was a complete outlier, and if they go in there and they lose, then you're still a 10-6 team that made the playoffs and lost in the postseason. Mm-hmm. So that's potentially what you'd be looking at. I mean, it's not much. It wouldn't be much improvement next year. So if you're at that point and you expect, okay, we're going to enter a mode of rebuild anyways, then sure, try to get the best quarterback if you can in the draft, because next season might set you up position-wise to be not that far away from being able to trade draft capital up to get there.
Because I think I've decided just today that I love the idea in general of drafting a quarterback, but I don't love drafting the third best quarterback because of how rare it is that guy actually turns out.
Unless you're getting number 1 or number 2, or unless it's the 2018 draft class that had 5 in the first round, that's in by and large, except for Josh Rosen, most of them were good, including Lamar Jackson. That's hard.
So which one of these ideas do you like the most and hate the most? Let me go over them again. So these are crazy ideas that are not just drafting a quarterback this year. These are sort of off a little bit the beaten path. that the Vikings could potentially go with their quarterback situation if they don't sign Cousins to an extension. The first one is to put a huge RFA offer into Taysom Hill and have him be your playmaker this year and then your starter next year. That was the one I loved as far as creativity goes.
Creativity, not factoring in the salary cap.
Well, you just use Everson Griffin's money.
Move him around.
It's all, we know this. We know who their cap guy is. We believe in him. We played golf with him once.
That's true.
Okay? So trust Rob.
But we're not one of these idiot cap is the myth people.
No. We just think that he can do his work. All right. So
sorry, I had to get that out there because it's almost draft season and it's almost free agency, and I know that a certain sect of Twitter that just likes to come out of the woodwork and be like, "Cap is the myth." Mm-hmm. Cap is No.
So Taysom Hill was the one idea, to use him as a playmaker and then become your starting quarterback. The other one was to get one of the guys who will lose their starting jobs and be a backup somewhere to turn your team over to in 2021. So someone like Marcus
short-term mindset.
Like a 1 year type of, or a 2 year type of deal to be the backup this year, the start of the year after that.
And then you're moving
on. And then you're probably moving on, but you can spend a heap ton of money to be good in 2021 with Marcus Mariota, for example. The other idea is to trade Delvin Cook and the 25th pick and potentially whatever other picks to get Tua Tagovailoa. And the last one is wait till the 2021 draft and then use all of your picks to move up as high as you can. If those had to be your ideas for moving on from Kirk, which one would you pick?
I would rule out number 3 immediately.
I hate you. That's the best one.
I know you do. And that's why I think I'm doing it.
What's your problem?
Because I'm just trying to be adversarial. No, because I think I don't think it's a good idea. Number 4, I think the entire staff's gone if it gets to that point. Everyone is fired.
Really? You think so?
To 2021, because that means next season's probably really bad because you're in a position then where you're
have to be.
It doesn't have to be, but I think that this team's still in win now mode, that if they even get to that point and they're expecting a rebuild, that things went wrong next year. And I think everybody's gone, which you could be in position to do. But if I'm thinking keeping the current staff, current structure, probably not going with that one. I like your first 2 ideas. I think Taysom Hill is a fun one.
I'm glad you do.
I think the salary cap implications make my head want to explode, considering this team's already about $6 million over the cap next year. But there will be restructures. There will be guys let go. There will be money freed up. Sure, why not? If you want to gamble on a piece that literally could be a wild card in your offense and play multiple positions, and will they use him the same way that the Saints did? I don't know. Because you'd
have to if
you got him. But I mean, if Mike Zimmer says you want to keep the same system, then that means playing conservatively. It's nice to have a chess piece every once in a while, but your chess piece at this point might be Irv Smith because he's your F tight end you can move around, play as a true H-back.
It would be so much fun.
It'd be fun, yes. But if they want to get that unconservative, sure, go for it.
And then even 2021 would be fun too, because even if he's bad, he's going to run around. He's going to look like Josh Allen, where he's going to win games because he runs around and breaks tackles and does crazy things. And even if they go 8-8, we'll at least had fun along the way.
Sure.
What's not super fun is going 8-8 and watching Kirk get sacked constantly.
Yeah. And
that's not fun at all.
Well, that could potentially be if they don't if they don't fix, I'm not going to the draft just yet. If they don't fix the offensive line again or address it as heavily as they need to, then that's the situation that you're in. But I'll go number 1. I like the first one. I think it's fun. Number 2, I think, is the conservative safe bet.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily even just those 3 names. Once we see how the UFA market, like of those tier 3 quarterbacks, guys who become available in March, like let's see how that shakes out. Sure, why not?
Mariota is an interesting idea because he had a 3-year stretch with Tennessee where he's kind of in the Cousins ballpark of going 9-7 or going 8-8 or somewhere in that range with a team that wasn't particularly good. And then they get really good and bench him for Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill's been unbelievable. I'm not saying that I think Mariota is good. I'm only saying that it would be interesting as far as ideas go to have 2021 be someone like him who you're trying to find a Tannehill. You're trying to find a guy where it didn't work out in the first location and it does in the second location. Or if it doesn't, then you're probably terrible and then you draft the next quarterback after that. But at least it gives you one of those opportunities to have a very low spending on your quarterback situation so you can add a bunch of other free agents and spend all the way to the cap and give Marcus Mariota this fantastic team to work with. I mean, that's what they've really done with Tannehill. They've given him the right system, but also they've given him a really, really great team. The running game, the offensive line, the defense, all those things are super good. And that's pretty much why they're here now. And also, I mean, you just get one game in the playoffs and sometimes life is weird and they end up winning that game. But that's not a crazy idea. It would not sell the most tickets, but it's not the wildest idea to have that little bit of a bridge if you don't like what you could draft now. I always think with the trading idea that if you have someone who you believe is special as a quarterback prospect, which Tua is in that range
before the injury, and before the injury, absolutely, I would have greenlit that one right away. I don't know.
Totally
I'm just
fair
a little
to hesitate
skeptical
because
on
of the
it.
injury.
Sure.
Yep. Totally.
I know. I'm really excited. That's why for the next 2 months, because you're getting all these draft nicks who get intel from scouts, from people who see them, from all of the the senior bowl and pro days, all of that, all the measurables, all the interviews, combine, etc. Then we're going to find out truly how people feel. So that's why I have pause on it.
Yeah.
He could very well be fine.
If the hip is okay, though, then you're all right with idea number 3?
I would be, well, no, because I'm not trading Delvin Cook and I'm not trading Danielle Hunter. Man. So you have to find another way to get to because it's not happening in my book.
Danielle Hunter's harder to trade, but I'd still do it. Delvin Cook is easy to trade for me. As much as I think he's a top 3 running back in the entire NFL, looking at what you'll probably have to pay him, how much salary cap space that's going to take up, what his backup did this year, what other running backs do when you draft them. I mean, Cook came in and was amazing right away. Can you draft another guy in the 2nd round this year or the 3rd round this year who can come in and be good? Probably. There's all sorts of great running back prospects every year. So
yeah, but we made this argument. I remember walking up the stairs last week at TCO just about the thought that you cannot just say plug and play and have it be that seamless.
He's not going to mean as much to winning as Tua Tagovailoa would. Not even anywhere in the same stratosphere.
I agree that the quarterback is the most important position on your team, but to get there, I think you're giving up. You're tearing down just to build up one other part, and then you have this other area you're going to have to fix. I just don't think that's easy to think about.
Well, they lost Adrian Peterson and just grabbed the next guy in the 2nd round and fixed the position just like that.
Well, Adrian was also old at the time he left here.
Yeah, I know, but the point is you had a legendary running back who we would have said, oh my, I don't know how you'll ever replace him. You got somebody better.
Who was already on the tail end of his career, who they saw declining, and I know that he's still playing. That's great.
I think it's more about positional value for me. It's just the running back is the most replaceable position in the NFL. So if someone wanted to trade for yours, you just always say yes if it's going to be able to get a position that's way more valuable.